This
So let's
conference
put
will
that
now
on
be recorded.
into the body of the minutes once we start. Are we ready to record? Or you are recording?
It's recording now.
Okay. So we should officially call the meeting to order. It's 5:06 p.m. on June 4th. And the May minutes went out to everyone. Did everybody have a chance to read them?
Yes.
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 Okay. So is there a motion to accept them on the floor?
I'll make a
It's hard to
motion.
tell.
I can,
It's hard to
I'll
tell in
motion.
this format.
Yeah,
Travis will
yeah.
make a motion to accept.
A hand raise, maybe. So Travis is. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
I'll second.
Well, good. We got 2, 3, 4s. All right. There was no further corrections or discussion on any of those minutes.
Okay,
No, the only correction that was made with the location of the Boxing Hall of Fame specified for me. So that'll be added for the approved minutes.
So again, can you make a motion? I guess it was you, Travis. Were you making a motion to that amended version?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to amend the version with the Boxing Hall of Fame.
And the second was
I'll second it.
okay. So all in favor of that?
Aye.
Can you?
Aye.
Okay. So we have a few there. I think with this format, it's a roll call will be important, or may be important. So I'm Alan Nace. I am at this time the chair of the Recreation Commission. Who else is here?
I'm here, Nancy Mills.
Travis
I'm
Madden.
here,
trying-
Ellen Vendetti.
Who was that?
Ellen's here.
Okay. I see Travis. You're still here, right, Travis?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm just turning off the camera.
Oh, come on.
I gotta
And
get my.
Maureen? Maureen, you're still here? No, Maureen. I see her
yes,
and B.
yes,
Yes, you're here.
this is Maureen, yes.
Okay, thank you. And caller number 01.
Is that you?
Is that me, a member of the public?
Yeah, 01 is, I believe,
No.
now.
Who is it?
Tanya Garment. This is Tanya
Okay.
Garment attending.
You're breaking up. Is
Great. Okay, well, thank you everyone for coming and Lindsay for putting this together and a great job. Those that are technologically behind the times like me do really appreciate your work in this.
No problem. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, I'm becoming more and more adept. I have meetings on apparently 5 or 6 different platforms like this throughout the week. It's interesting.
Practice makes perfect, right?
Yeah. So we had some action discussion items that are next on the agenda. Department and program updates from Lindsay.
Maureen, Bird,
What was that?
If as we move through this, if we
Maureen,
could
Bird,
mute
Blue.
our microphones, and then while Lindsay's talking about the programs, we'll get less feedback.
Sure. All right. Do you want me to begin?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you
all
see me?
right. No. No, we can hear you though. Okay. All right. So
I didn't hear that.
I wanted to give you guys a couple of updates on some things that we talked about last time. As I'm sure a lot of you probably already know, there were some staff temporary layoffs that the mayor had put forth. So for Parks and Rec, I believe there were 4 part-time laborers that were put on that list, and 3 of our recreation staff that were also on that list. And the primary reason for that was with the cancellation of programs. The mayor felt that, the folks that were not able to perform their typical duties and their tasks, that's how they came up with this full list. So it hasn't been easy. It's been tough not being able to see the employees around, and especially knowing that we don't have our programs operating. It's just been a really difficult time. But they will be coming back July 31st. That is the date for those folks to come back. There have been some discussions per the governor's directive that beaches across the state can be reopened with very strict guidelines. So with that, we've, me, the mayor, DPW, we've been discussing what that would look like if we were able to, what the cost would be, how many staff we would need to properly do this and stay within the guidelines. There's a bunch of factors. The main one being the sign off from the health department. So there's going to be another follow-up meeting tomorrow to kind of solidify a decision one way or the other, and see if we can make this happen. So I will definitely keep you guys updated on that. I'm sure you also heard that the governor also announced that as of June 29th, camps can begin. We are not able to even begin that discussion until we find out what the guidelines are. And as of 3:30 this afternoon, I have not seen the state proposed guidelines yet. And so we really, I checked in with the mayor as soon as I heard about it, just to see if that's something that, can be back on the table. Of course, it would look a lot different and be a lot different than, what the normal thing would be. But we really can't start that conversation until we know what we're dealing with in terms of guidelines. So that's still kind of on hold till we hear more from the state. The other item that I had on my list was Raquel Knox Park Playground. There were a few of you that were on the email that I sent to DPW following our last meeting. So the playground has officially been taken down.
Yes.
That was last month. So that is good. I actually had a site visit with DPW and our city engineer. Thank you. Last week, or excuse me, on Monday. And we wanted to really look at this wall and see, that's obviously the main concern as to why the playground can't be reopened at this time. So with the engineer, DPW, myself, we kind of looked at what it would take for that to happen. So there is a proposal, a kind of tentative plan in place for the fence to be moved in, possibly 15 feet. Our city engineer said that if the fence is moved in that amount, that it would catch any potential debris that is falling from the wall. So the wall is not, it's leaning forward. For any of you that have been down there anytime recently, the wall is kind of pushed forward. There's some large trees that the roots are kind of, putting additional pressure on. And to remove the wall or to rebuild the wall or build an additional wall would be an extremely costly project. So the safest / affordable option would be to move the fence in 15 feet. And of course that would lose some ground, but we would still have a large enough space to have an appropriate playground. The benches, it would still be the space that I think that the family is hoping to see brought back. So that has not been finalized yet. There are some different things that have to be reviewed for that, but that is something that we're working on. The Rec Trust Fund, I'm not sure how many of you have been keeping up with that, but the mayor has proposed a possible list of projects to be covered under that fund. Raquel Knox Park Playground being part of that. The list has not been finalized yet, but as soon as it is, you guys will receive a copy of it to review. It's going to be submitted to the Common Council on behalf of the mayor to try and get these projects done at a time where, the playgrounds aren't currently open. This might be a good time to get some long-standing projects done. So that's all I got. If anybody has any questions, let me know.
Yeah, Lindsay, I have a question for you. This is Joe Mado.
Hi, Joe.
Hi.
Okay.
Everybody. The question I have: did they remove the playground stuff down there? I haven't been down there. I know they took it down. I saw that.
Lindsay?
Did they remove everything?
Yeah, yes, I think the ballards are still in there, but I believe I think they haven't taken those out, but the playground itself is still in there.
Oh,
Or
okay.
is it removed? I'm sorry.
Oh,
Are you
okay.
allowing public comment at this meeting?
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, this is Tanya Garment. Are you allowing public comment at this meeting?
Are we allowing public at the meeting? It is a public meeting. Yes.
The public to comment or to make a comment or a statement, the public.
Well, we can recognize you if you'd like to make a comment.
Okay, thank you. Is now an okay time?
Sure.
Thank you.
If it's related to what Lindsay was talking about.
Okay, yes. So the Kingston Point infrastructure improvements project has 8 trees down, although that's debated. It could be 6, it could be 8 trees were taken down. The wooden bollards and the playground equipment were all removed. And it was explained by Julie Noble at the site to me that it was a demolition phase that they removed it from. They have not yet completed the design of the park.
Wait, I'm sorry.
they are
What park
going
are you referring to, Tanya?
Oh, the playground and the bollards removed from the Kingston Point? Is that
I'm
what you're
sorry.
asking about, the Kingston Point?
No, Al said that if you had a comment about what I just mentioned, you can speak to that. We didn't mention.
I thought Al was asking about the Kingston Point and that you were talking about what was removed there. No?
No,
It was. I think Lindsay was talking about giving a report on the Raquel Knox.
Right.
Playground.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. It is bad audio. And I thought that you had asked about...
we would like you to comment on whatever it is you want to comment in a few minutes. So
Okay.
please stay with us.
Thank you. Okay.
But
thanks.
Lindsay, I
thought you were talking about...
Yeah, I wanted to thank you, Lindsay, for your work on that and getting that done. We've been talking about this for these parks and this issue for a while. And I know Joe has been
I have a question.
a leader in that area. And so I'm thrilled that it's finally happening.
Yes, absolutely. It's a good start.
Yeah. And
Maureen,
my hope is that they move forward with new equipment, but our primary concern was safety and that it be put in a condition that people couldn't be harmed.
Yes, and new equipment would be part of the plan of the improvements.
Great.
Maureen, I can see your mouth moving.
Getting the old stuff out.
Yes. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
I can now.
Can you hear me? Okay. Hey, everybody. Yes, Lindsay, thanks for, all that you did to make that happen. I'm glad that old equipment is out of there, but I was not able to hear what you said regarding the land trust. Did you say something about the land trust?
The Rec Trust Fund.
Oh, the rec trust. Okay. because is anybody else breaking up? Because when Al is speaking, I can hardly hear him. He's breaking up. So, is anybody else having a problem with anybody breaking up? Can you hear me?
I can definitely hear you now.
Yeah, I'm not having an issue.
Okay. All right.
I can hear you, but it's breaking up.
I'm just doing this through my cell phone today, so it could be my phone.
Yeah,
Okay.
it could be anything at this point.
Yeah.
So did you have any further report on that, on the Raquel Knox Park? Or is there another department program that you wanted to?
Nope, that was the end of that list. Yep, just letting you know that once I have more information, a finalized list of the Rec Trust Fund projects that are being proposed, I will certainly make sure that is passed on to each member.
Great.
And so what? That would make more funds available to go towards Raquel Knox Park?
That would cover the costs of the new playground, for the fence to be moved in, the repairs of the benches. All, we're going to try our best to bring it back to,
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, great. Because when you were speaking, it was breaking up a little bit too, so I couldn't hear exactly everything you were saying. But great, I like that idea. Hope that works in our favor. So.
Yeah, and I'll definitely, I know this is a complicated method with the virtual meetings and stuff, but I will definitely, I can answer any questions as we get more information. I'll keep you guys all in the loop, so that way you know what's going on as it progresses.
Oh, great, thank you.
I wanted to point out that Mr. Steve Shabbat, who is our liaison with Common Council, was called away and had was unable to attend tonight. But he'll be able to access the recording, and we'll contact me or Lindsay or somebody here if he has any questions about anything. Was that it for all of the programs? Because we're really not having a bunch, but at this time. The next was under old businesses, the Boxing Hall of Fame, and it was that amendment to the minutes. And a slight update is I was on the call yesterday with USA Boxing, which is the Olympic Boxing Committee that oversees boxing in the United States. And it's separated in regions, and so the upstate region from Kingston to Buffalo is involved, and they're very involved, and they want to be involved and have a lot of names and people that they want to suggest that have participated in between White Plains and I guess Saratoga in that region. So for a boxing person, this is really exciting. They were ecstatic about it. And again, it's our Parks and Recreation Commission, our mayor, our directors, Kevin in the past, and Lindsay now, that are supporting it and making that happen. And the people on the commission specifically who are working to make that happen. So it's hard to set a time frame with any of it, because I don't know when we can do anything, get together as a group or. But I guess it'll all come out as it comes out in the near future. So I'm looking forward to that. Under any other old business that anyone has?
No, but I would like to see that, Boxing Hall of Fame get moving and, get established. I think that's a wonderful thing for Kingston. Anything else to, draw tourists back into the area once it happens. Now, those other entities, you said from White Plains to Albany, is there, monies that can be generated through them participating so that it would be?
Well, I don't know. Their participation are the names of individuals,
Oh.
including back 80, 90 years ago from
Okay.
their region who participated. Funding, we have people who are willing to fund it. It's not a hugely expensive project.
Okay.
We have locals who are willing to help fund it, and some have already pledged it. And and there's an attorney's office that wants to be a part of it. So it's a few $1,000s is all it really is to start it. And
So
then,
money is not.
well, and then of course how big it gets and how big we want to make it. Do we want to do a dinner? People were talking. Well, the thoughts that we'd had in our conversations had been those places. Wiltwyck, all of that, they're wonderful places. But if we were to do it and to do an opening for the Boxing Hall of Fame, that we do it at the rec center, which is not as fancy, but it hits the spot. And
it's
Carl
saving money.
Brown was willing to have a loop where some of the videos of these fighters are there for the public to see while they're eating or whatever. So.
Yes. Okay. I hear that. That sounds good.
I have a question for Lindsay.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. I'm James Michael. I'm the liaison from the Kingston City School District. My question is, do you have anybody assigned now at the stadium, to supervise at all?
No, there's no direct supervisor there. Steve Freer is still the maintenance supervisor. The two employees that were primarily stationed there, I believe, are out in the field with the other laborers. Since there's no events happening at the stadium, they've kind of been called to help out with the other parts and such.
Well, the reason I'm asking is the fact it came to my attention. I heard from many people that a lot of kids are gathering at the stadium, playing ball, whatever. Nobody's practicing, social distancing. Mm-hmm. Nobody's wearing a mask. So it's like free to play. So I wonder if that will have any impact in the community.
Yeah, I mean, we've gotten complaints. The mayor's office specifically has gotten complaints about Dietz. As far as enforcement, we haven't been given any specific guidelines on who is doing that kind of enforcement. Same with the beach. We've gotten complaints about people being at the beach and not necessarily, practicing social distancing. KPD is not being sent out to monitor people in that way. We don't really have anyone who's, monitoring these locations. I mean, of course, if a staff member sees something, folks ripping down snow fencing and playing on the playgrounds, we tell them it's closed. Because Dietz Stadium is not actually closed, the only thing that we have closed off, I believe, are the picnic tables and the pavilions based off of the governor's orders. So I understand it is definitely a concern that's been brought up. It's just, it seems like it's a little bit tricky as far as how to go about, monitoring that and who's responsible for monitoring it and having that direct interaction with the public.
Yeah, I don't see how it can be monitored either.
Yeah, and the latitude and authority that the staff will or won't have, and what can they say? Get off the field.
And we don't want, and quite frankly, the field is open. I mean, I think the hope is that people are being responsible and people are, keeping in mind that there are certain guidelines that we're all to follow. There's signage on all of our parks, all of our trails. There's, I believe that we're just trying to, have a little faith and trust in folks to do the right thing. But if there's an issue, I haven't been given any specific directions on, how we're supposed to approach those things other than, snow fencing the playgrounds, closing off picnic tables, making sure there's signage that's available. To my knowledge, no one employee has been told to, speak to the public if they don't have masks on or tell them that they need to stay 6 feet apart. We haven't been given that directive.
Maybe an audio tape of please respect social distancing going off every 15 minutes. I don't know what else you could
Yeah.
do,
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be the person to go up to everybody and say,
Right.
hey, you're too close. They start treating me like the parking attendant, the guy that gives out the tickets. Wouldn't be popular anyway. But there is no guidance for that in the city, is there? Anywhere? Not just for rec. I don't think there's anywhere.
No, I don't think there's no guidance or direction on, employees approaching members of the public and telling them to keep their distance. I will say that if the beach does open, that is a position that will, or a task that someone will be responsible to have. That's part of one of the requirements is that there is a socially distancing monitor that's responsible to make sure that groups of or families are all distanced, that there's a sectioned off area for people to make sure that they are keeping their space. That individual will be given that task. But that, to my knowledge, that starts and ends with the beach.
I have a question for you, Lindsay, on that. Would that be a position that someone who's working out, a laborer or a program person who's working now, or would they bring someone back for that?
So it's a little unclear, but my understanding is that would be a seasonal employee because it's not with the CSEA guidelines and such. I don't think that we can ask the laborers to do certain things that aren't in their job titles. So I don't know if monitoring people's distance, and I think there might be an issue with that. So my understanding is that this would be a seasonal position similar to the lifeguards.
Okay. Yeah, it was just a thought that popped up for me.
Yeah.
Do we have any other new business? Anybody? How about our public caller?
Yeah.
Thanks so much. I was a little confused there, so
Could
I
you,
want to first apologize.
Could you? That's fine. We're confused too. Could you? Could you identify your, by name, and then, if you're comfortable with that?
Sure. Thank you. Tanya Garment, 102 Worth Street, Kingston.
Okay.
I just wanted to say that I'm a little concerned about Kingston Point Park, the infrastructure improvement grant, which is the grant that covers moving the parking lot, putting in the youth soccer field, and moving the playground. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this. It's between the Pavilion and Delaware Avenue, on the right side if you're driving towards the beach. And this is a project that did not have much public engagement at all. They did not have a project advisory committee. The project advisory committee was just the project team. Nobody on the project advisory committee was not paid to work on it. Everybody who was on that committee was paid to work on the project. So there wasn't a local stakeholders engagement meetings, which most projects have. And they also did have one public meeting, but it was a very small percentage of weaving the waterfront. There was a design board up where they had the 4 design alternatives. And they had a survey that they put out afterwards that was, I believe, part of the rest of the weaving the waterfront. So there really wasn't a lot of information given to the public during all of this. So I found it particularly concerning when they started the demolition phase before the funder had even approved of the final design. And I do frankly worry about the motives for that, because grants are starting to being pulled back. And so if they start the demolition, they're going to be in a position where they're going to, what if they can't put it back? What if the grant money is held off? They removed the playground, they removed numerous huge trees, and they removed all the bollards. So they're moving ahead before the design is approved, and I think that's really concerning. And I also wanted to encourage you, if you don't know, to find out where they did put the playground equipment, because I hope that if the funding doesn't come through, that it's able to be returned. It's too late for the trees that provided a lot of shade there, but I hope that the equipment is in a safe place. Thanks.
Thank you. I don't.
Yeah,
I
nobody knows
don't
about
know
this project.
where the playground equipment is.
Okay.
I don't know that Lindsay does. I think that was in a transition period of directors. That might be something that we could.
Yeah, I can look back in Kevin's emails and try to find out that answer, but I do recall that coming up at some point, as far as where the equipment was. But Julie has been working on this project. My understanding is that this was a 5-year grant project. And so I know that she's been working on this since, it seems like the grant contract began in December of 2016 and it expires in 2021. And so it sounds like based on what I have here from Julie, the funds have been secured. So I think that, the project was moving forward, as directed. That began under Kevin, but she is the project manager, and sounds like they anticipate going out to bid this summer for the construction phase, like you said. But it's, I think the funds are there.
And
I just
this
want to
project-
clarify, I was just saying that I was concerned because there are funds that are being held back, that are being postponed. It's already started to happen with some grant funding. So they may say, well, here's the extension to get the work done, but we're not going to be able to give you this money for a couple more years. And then there is a quarter of the money has to be covered locally. It's a 3/4 grant. $100,000 has to be coming from the city of Kingston, and it has not yet been determined where that money will come from in the city of Kingston's budget.
It seems like in the resolution that was passed, it says, per the second resolution attached, it states that the matching funding requirements of $100,000 are expected through in-kind donations, force account,
Right.
bond, another grant.
A variety of possible.
Okay.
Bonding, yeah. There are different things, but they have not decided where of those options they will come from.
But I hear your concern and share it somewhat. But my understanding is that this was a long-term project, right? 5 years, 4 or 5 years.
Yes. Yep,
And
2016.
it's processing or progressing through that now. And I have the same concerns that you have about for future funding and grants and where the money is going to come from. But it sounds like they have this pretty well sorted out anyway.
I just want to make one more clarification. My concern specifically was that they had not gotten the final designs approved by the funder yet before they started the demolition. So that's where my concern is in terms of, I know that it's towards the end of the grant, that they've been working on it for a while. They feel confident that the design will be approved, but that they sort of skipped that step it's not something that they normally do. As far as I understand, you have to wait till the final designs are approved before starting construction. I know that for a fact. But the gray area here that seems to be is the demolition. And so the demolition, I just worry that these financial times, they should not have started the demolition until they had the final designs approved. Sorry, I just wanted to clarify, not go back and I don't mean to make you go back and forth. I just wanted to make sure that part was clear.
No, I hear your cares and concerns in that, and I am not knowledgeable enough in that area. That wasn't necessarily a commission um, discussion. That was something that was put in place quite a while ago, and it was being processed. I think Lindsay said through the project manager, and
Yeah, it sounds like, and again, this was, prior, this was back in my old job, at the mayor's office. It sounds like it began under the direction of Kevin, but it didn't advance. And so Julie was tasked to serve as project manager, which I believe that happened. I don't even know if that was last year or 2018. But she's been working on it for quite some time. And I believe she was directed to do so. I think at that time by the mayor. I don't know if it was by Kevin and the mayor, or, I think they just really needed someone to take it on. Otherwise, they were going to lose the funding.
but Julie was assigned to with that task.
Yes.
Right,
And-
1 year ago. 1 year ago.
Okay. And Lindsay, could you find out the funding and where that's at for this commission so that we could at least know what the facts are. Is the money in hand? Is the money or whether it was bond or how it was going to be funded?
I can actually have all that information here. I can send you guys this email. I was CC'd on an email from Julie directly to President Shaw with that information. She had some concerns, and she asked Julie a number of questions. And so I'd be happy to share that with you guys.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
Because then I'd know more, but and for our caller or for our visitor, I appreciate you visiting us. I think it's important for people to be involved in the community and what goes on, and welcome you, and appreciate your questions because they then become our questions.
Thanks.
So, our next. Is there any other new business that anyone has that they want to speak of before I move on to our next order of business? All right, then. So our next order is the election of officers. And there are two positions. One is the secretary, which the director of recreation has historically had, and Kevin had it, and Lindsay's been doing that for the last couple of meetings that she's been here.
It's been a pleasure.
Well, and a fine job you're doing, and now you're recording us. You're bringing
Yes.
us into a new era. It's really
Yes.
cool.
That's right.
So, is that a position that, Lindsay, that you want and are willing to continue with?
I plan to serve the commission however I'm needed, but I'd be happy to continue Ellen as the secretary.
Is there any thoughts from other commission members? Anyone specifically want that job or want someone else to do that job? Or
I think Lindsay will do a great job.
yeah, I think we hear chirping now. Yeah. So
That was quick, man.
Congratulations, Lynn.
well, we need a formalized vote on it with a name and the vote. So if you could, Travis, can you?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to have Lindsay be the secretary.
Okay.
Continue.
I'll second it.
Who's the second?
Joe and Ellen.
I'll second it. Joe and Ellen. Yep. Hi, Ellen.
Okay. So Joe and Ellen are voting for it. One of them is the second. Ellen. Okay. Nancy.
Yes.
Is that a yes for Lindsay?
Sure, yes.
Okay. Maureen?
Maureen,
You're
you're muted.
Yes,
There you
yes, I'm saying yes and thanking Lindsay at the same time.
go. All right.
Thanks. You're welcome.
Now, other people on here are identified by caller numbers. I don't know who's who, but
On the line.
who is it?
Calling.
Who's on the phones?
I'm on the phone. Joe McDowell's on the phone.
I'm on the phone.
Okay. So we have
Joe and Al.
we have them. So and I'm voting yes for Lindsay. So that's it. Lindsay is our new or reborn secretary for another term by a unanimous vote of the commission. Let's give her.
Oh, thank you. Looking forward to it.
Congratulations, Lindsay.
Thank you, Joe.
And the only other office that I'm aware of is the office of the chair of the commission. And it's a really,
Yes.
I mean, Lindsay works you hard. I'm telling you. No, I've had the opportunity to serve 2 years in there and followed Nancy, I believe. And you know what? I've had a great time prior to it, and while I am the chair, and it's a wonderful opportunity to get to know the people on the commission and the director and the programs. And the real job is to facilitate the meeting and to be supportive of the recreation department. And I believe as it states through the director and to support their efforts in our community and to improve our parks and recreation for our youth and adults and seniors and everybody in our community. And I know a couple of people have expressed passing interest in it. But is anyone interested in that position? And you have to be to the meetings and you have to be there on time and you have to be comfortable talking, and all of you are. And if somebody hasn't done it and would like to do it, that would be great.
Maureen, would that be something you're interested in?
As much as I am interested in it, I'm in the process of, trying to reopen my business and will simply be, working in the shop. I'm not exactly sure, what that is going to be like. If I have to, I will try to, be able to hold that position, but it's not at the top of my priority right now.
I hear you.
Big,
I wish you luck. I wish you luck in the reopening of the business, and I hope you sell out the first day, and
then maybe I can close up shop because it's going to be a whole, different type of trip this round. So yeah, it's just not going to be the same. But I'm saying no at this time unless I absolutely have to.
No, and I wanted to point out it's a 1-year term, and the term limits are 2 1-year terms. That's my understanding. Is that right, Nancy?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
that's correct.
Sorry.
So, I don't know if we have really wonderful people, and some haven't been on it, haven't had that. You may have things that are interfering, with it, or just other things on your plate right now. But
it's a once a month obligation to chair the meetings, right? But but you still have to be out in the public, checking out the concerns of Parks and Recreation, right?
Oh, yeah, a little. I mean, I'm not working. You're not working like the Parks and Rec laborers or the program directors.
Right.
I mean, the big thing, I cleaned and swept one of the parks on what is it, on Prospect Street or something, that a year ago, because the ground cover there, that the rubber or whatever it is, had been moved, and it was a Huck Finn, Tom Sawyer kind of, whatever that guy was, for me, because I got over there and I was working on it, and all the neighborhood kids came over and got interested and wanted to know what was going on, and then they wanted to do it. So, that
Right.
kind of stuff. Go to some of the events, and work with the director to support them maybe in some public settings. So there's a little bit to it. It's not a hard job, but it does require a little bit of time.
Right. And is there anyone who is interested in being the chairperson? If not,
I mean, Travis or Joe or
then I will
Ellen, you were
take
the
that
chair.
position,
I mean,
Yes, I already had the opportunity to a couple years before Nancy.
Right.
So
Okay.
I'd like to offer, that to another person if they'd like it.
I saw Travis starting to talk.
I mean, personally, I've only been on the board for less than not even 2 years. I really don't think I have the experience. I can run a meeting, but from a park standpoint, I feel as if I'm not ready for that. I mean, when you guys brought up the Raquel Knox Park, a couple months ago, I had no idea that park even existed, and I feel the same way with other parks in the area that I still need to learn. I would love to be some sort of a deputy, if that's a position that could be made available, and I could help serve with meetings. I could help. I mean, I don't plan on going anywhere, but I don't think the chairmanship. I don't think I'm necessarily ready for that, and I don't think I have the capability of being able to be the best that I could be under that realm at the moment.
Okay. I kind of like the idea of there being a deputy, or whatever it's called, or co-chair, or vice chair, or whatever. I don't know if we can establish that. I don't know that we couldn't. I don't think there's anything that says that we can't. We make up our own offices, or have.
I think that each of the people who have been chairs probably stumbled their way through it, with the support of those who've come before them. So it's coming down to the wire. So it sounds like I'm going to be the one, right?
Well, it's either you or Joe.
You're very passionate, Maureen. You're very passionate.
You know what? I would honestly, I would love to do it.
More here than
What'd you say, Joe?
Yeah, Joe.
Hello?
Yeah.
I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead, Marie.
I was just saying that I know that you're probably even more busier than I am. So I guess I will accept that position, and I can only do the best that I can do. So just bear with me.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, Joe. I wasn't able to hear you.
No, I would love to do it myself, truthfully, but I know what I'm doing in the community, not just the Park and Recreation Commissioner, but what I'm doing with the Housing Authority as well. And that's right now, if you notice, there's a lot of projects going on, and I'm like really, really deeply involved with that as well.
Okay.
But and some other things that's going on in the community also that I'm involved with, dealing with kids and getting jobs for kids as well. Also, being that it's a little difficult for the city to provide jobs
And running
for these
your own
people
business.
in the summer.
Mm-hmm. Well, I appreciate all you do, Joe. I know,
Yeah.
you do a lot for the Parks and Rec, but you do a lot for the local people, and I want you to know that I appreciate it, and I think everybody on the commission does.
Right.
No
All
question
the
I
about
work
it.
mean,
you were
if I have to
doing.
do it,
Yeah, no.
if I have to do
So,
it, I'll do it. But it's gonna be tough. But I'll do it if I have to. I mean, I will. But Maureen,
well, Maureen
thank you so
sounds
much
like she's
for
willing to
volunteering.
do it.
But thank you so much,
Yes,
Maureen, for stepping up. We really appreciate your generosity of taking the position.
my
And
willingness,
Maureen, I'll
right?
help you in any way I can. If you need
Yeah.
help,
Yeah.
I
Well,
will
that she
assist
doesn't
you.
get the help yet. She's not elected.
Oh, right.
She's
We
nominated,
will give you a hand, Maureen. All of us
and
will help
we
you out.
could
I'm sure,
we could
yeah,
have
I'm
an
sure that
election,
there's,
and everybody could run for the office, and then we could vote, and whoever gets the most votes, or we can move forward
yeah,
with the one nominee. And or do you want to consider also adding a fill-in for when Maureen is not here, and we could call it temporarily, and we can call it the deputy or the co-chair or the vice chair. Vice chair is a better one. And then if Maureen is unavailable at a meeting, then that vice chair would assume the responsibilities of facilitating the meeting.
I think that's fair. That's a great idea. I wouldn't mind doing that. You know.
I don't know. I just think that since, we have access to, go to meeting, even if I'm in my business, I can always, like
I
find
agree.
a spot to still be at the
Okay.
meeting. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Well, great.
Let's just do it traditionally. And if I need assistance, all of you who've come before me as the chairperson, I'm sure it will be willing to, to assist me along the way.
So I would, Travis and Joe, if you guys could familiarize yourself a bit with what it is that goes on, and none of you would have any problem doing the job, that would be great because we'll have a future, and the office is for 1 year, and so we have a nominee. We have a person who has agreed to be a nominee. Maureen has agreed to be a nominee. So do we want to elect her? Does somebody want to make a motion that she be
I would love
the
to make a
new
motion.
chair?
Travis, well, I'll definitely make a motion for Maureen to be the chair.
So Travis makes a motion that Maureen be elected to the chair position.
I'll
Nancy
second.
seconding it. And
Yes.
so by name, could we go through who's in favor and who's in favor first?
Aye.
I'm in favor. This is
Who are
Ellen.
you?
Ellen, I'm
Ellen
in
is
favor.
in favor. This is just being recorded. That's why I'm asking.
It's Nancy and I'm in favor.
Yeah, you seconded. And Joe?
Joe McDowell, I'm in favor.
Joe's in favor. I'm Al. Al Nays. I'm in favor. Are there any other voting members who?
I believe that's all.
So the motion is so carried by a unanimous decision. At the next meeting, Maureen Bird Blue will be the chair. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Maureen.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, man.
Congratulations,
Thank
Maureen.
you very much. Thank you.
And if I can help you in any way, in any manner, just ask, and we're all here. Very cool.
It'll be fine. Okay. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate your votes.
And the $1,500 donation that the chair makes quarterly, I can pick up in cash. No, I'm just kidding. There's no donation.
Yeah, that's a little wild.
No donation. So I want to tell you that during my time, you've been like the greatest group to work with, and I'll still be on the commission. But I've enjoyed it and look forward to working with you in the future. With that being said, in the email, there's an application for a position on the
Yes.
commission. So if you haven't filled that out and sent that in, please do so. Maureen, you look confused. So there's a,
Is that is that the application to renew our position?
yes,
Oh,
yes,
okay,
Lindsay
yes.
sent them out.
So technically, does that mean that I'm not qualified for the position just yet because I haven't sent that back yet?
Well,
No,
send that in.
if I could chime in, you guys, all of your terms have been expired for like 4 years. So it's just for everybody to come back in and like
Oh, not mine.
office. Oh yeah, maybe not
Ah.
Travis. I think Travis and Maureen might be okay. I'd have to look, but Joe McDowell, I think, goes back to
Yeah.
2014. So
Wow.
not
It's been
trying
that
to
long?
throw shade. I'm just saying, like, you know,
Wow.
I'm
I
catching
didn't know it
a
was that long.
Yeah, I think the appointments were for 3 years. Is that correct?
was it 3?
What you
Oh,
say?
maybe it was. Okay.
I think it's only
Maybe
2.
I'm wrong. Maybe it's not. Maybe it was a different
It
term.
was 5 years.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, so normally, I mean, the application is really just so they have on file that you showed interest, that you wanted to be reappointed. And then from there, you get an official letter from the mayor's office telling you to go sign your oath of office by a certain date. The only thing right now with City Hall being closed, I don't think that there's not like a hard deadline on that because you guys can't get to the clerk's office, so.
But we can email it to that. Who's the individual on the application?
Roy Versapor, he's the new secretary.
Yes.
Okay, we can email it. Okay.
Yep.
So, with that said, our next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, July 2nd at 5 p.m. And it could be there or it could be here.
That's right.
We'll
Toss-up.
see. We'll see. I've thoroughly enjoyed
Okay, so
being
I
your
would-
virtual chair, and and look forward to the future. Is there any?
Thank you. Thank you, Al, for everything you've done.
Well, thank you.
Thanks, Al.
Yes, thank you,
Great
Al.
job, Al. Great job.
Well, thank you guys.
Great
I
job.
appreciate it. Anything that we need? Anything else to talk about? Lindsay, do you have anything?
Nope, I got my list done.
Cool.
Yeah.
Is there a motion to? And it's an hour. Look at that. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting, or do you want to keep going?
No, I have a motion to adjourn the meeting. This is Maureen.
I know. I see Maureen. Yeah. Any
I
seconds
second it.
on?
Ellen seconds it.
All right. So if there's no opposition, we will adjourn the meeting and see everybody on Thursday, July 2nd.
Okay, be safe, everyone.
You
All right,
say
bye-bye,
Don't move.
everybody. Be safe.